Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to Kenya Lens Media, where we talk about politics and equally we analyze and also give you news updates as they break. Now, today something happened when the transport sector officials called off the countrywide Maandamano, and now new information, or rather new expose has come out from the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who has indicated even the amount of bribe that William Ruto extended to the transport sector officials and lured them into ending the widespread Maandamano is something that is debatable, and I'm here to give you all the details. However, it answers many of the questions that many people were asking yesterday. Remember, on Monday, 18th, 2026, there was a meeting that was called by the Cabinet Secretary Energy, Opiyo Wandayi, and equally the transport sector officials, including Dennis Itumbi, and even Murkomen was there, the Kipchumba Murkomen, the Cabinet Secretary Internal Security. He was also there. However, when they talked about how to end and how to reach this agreement, they never clicked. A reason why the transport sector officials emerged during the interview, or the press briefing, and indicated that the countrywide strike was not over until they reached an agreement. So today, they equally came out with the transport sector officials, where they said that the protests were over, that everything to run as normal. So people were asking a question: why didn't they reach an agreement? But now they've reached, and they've given 7 days for negotiations to take place. So it is a question that is going to be answered in today's video that I'm going to analyze. But before that, let us listen to what the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said while in London today, indicating the amount of money these people were given. Roll the tape.
So let me ask the officials of the transport sector who have said they will negotiate with the government. I hope they will not be compromised. I hear yesterday Dennis Itumbi tried to give them 500,000 shillings. 7 of them, they refused. I hope they have not been given more. I want to give them the benefit of doubt and believe they have not been compromised. Let them go to these negotiations with an open mind. First, they must demand that the bad fuel, the low quality fuel, must be removed from the market. They must demand that William Ruto must forego his profit. They must demand that VAT must be brought to zero. They must demand that the 7 shillings for fuel levy must be removed. If they do that, fair enough, we proceed. If they are compromised and agree that everything is okay, if they will be contented with the 10 shillings, then ourselves on coming back, we'll have to consult with the other leaders in the United Alternative Government and decide the way forward for the people of Kenya. So I needed to talk about those few things because it's important that we let the people of Kenya know what is happening. And I really urge the people of Turkana to wake up and say no. They cannot allow theft of a God-given natural resource that would have benefited the people of Turkana to benefit one William Ruto and his company, Gulf Energy.
Rigathi Gachagua, who is now the de facto leader of the alternative government, as the Nyandarua Senator Methu John has been indicating while in London, UK, has given a speech, a press briefing to the Kenyan media, where he has explained and also exposed whatever happened in Kenya today that led to the transport sector officials to accept 500,000 shillings that were given yesterday. And this answers the question why Dennis Itumbi was in that meeting where they were having a tete-a-tete. And it has been answered because Dennis Itumbi, according to Gachagua, was the one who was sent with the 500,000 shillings to give the transport sector officials who were there. Remember, there were 7 people, so they were to divide among themselves the 500,000 shillings. However, they declined that amount yesterday. And that is the reason why you saw the transport sector officials saying that they had no deal with the government following the price hike of the fuel. But today they were happy and they were talking about giving negotiation a chance because Kenya is burning and stuff. We remember that is the same words that Raila Odinga used when he wanted to get his people in government after the Gen Z Maandamano. So according to Rigathi Gachagua, it means in as much as he was not he didn't want to, blame anyone. He indicated if they were given 500 yesterday but they denied, today they've sat down and made an agreement. Fuel prices, remember, they've not been reduced. However, they have given time, 7-day time, so that they can reflect and also sit down, have a tete-a-tete, so that to determine how they are going to move forward and also how they are going to ease the burden of price hike to Kenyans. So that clicks, that tells you something. Perhaps today equally they were given the amount of money, or that 500,000 was adjusted to let these people accept and also end the demonstrations that really shook the Kenyan economy on Monday. Things are coming up. And in fact, yesterday, when this happened, Kenyans were so happy because they felt that these transport sector officials, they're there, to fight for the plight of the Kenyan mwananchi. However, as it stands out right now, things are not the same. But perhaps they were given money and this one ended. However, according to Rigathi Gachagua, he gave conditions, and these conditions, he said, unless they are met, once he comes back from London, things will be bad. That is according to Rigathi Gachagua, because he said if they did not take the 500,000 shillings, and if on Tuesday they equally did not take any money, that means they are on the right course. However, he said that there are some things that the government of Kenya should consider. Number one, to get out of Kenya the bad fuel. He has been claiming that they went forth to bring bad fuel in Kenya, that he also has brought to, or rather can spoil some of the vehicles here in Kenya. So according to Gachagua, he's telling the government to make sure, or rather the transport sector officials to make sure they've negotiated well and have asked the president of Kenya or the government of Kenya to do away with the bad fuel. Equally, he said that Ruto should avoid getting profits from the sale of the fuel. He should not get his own personal profit from it. He should scrap that. Number three, he said that the VAT profit the VAT should be scrapped. You remember it was 14% VAT, and in the first month's increase of these prices, William Ruto ordered that the 14% VAT be reduced to 8%, and now they want it to be reduced to further, such that we don't have any VAT in order to reduce the cost of fuel. And then number four, the 7 shillings fuel levy equally should be scrapped. That is according to Rigathi Gachagua. However, he said that when he comes back to Kenya, if all these things are not done, or that if these conditions are not met, therefore he's gonna meet the government of the day, that is William Ruto, is gonna meet with a very serious opposition and also a very serious decision that will be made by the former deputy Rigathi Gachagua and also other core principals in the alternative government. Equally, Gachagua took a jab at President William Ruto. He said that he's a bad leader and an incompetent leader because while Kenya is burning, he's out there enjoying himself. In fact, he pointed out how President William Ruto fled the country, saying that while going to Azerbaijan, he went there using a private jet that is so luxurious, one of the best in the world. And in that jet, there is also a bedroom well furnished. In that jet, there is also a spa, there is also a sauna, and also 4 ladies for the massage. That is according to Rigathi Gachagua, indicating that William Ruto is spending, in fact, that jet cost 5 million Kenyan shillings per hour. And that is the jet William Ruto used to go to Azerbaijan. So he was asking the logic, why is William Ruto spending that much just for a jet, a private jet to Azerbaijan, yet the fuel prices are up. The fuel prices have reached the unprecedented levels that they've never reached before in Kenya. Not even the time of Uhuru Kenyatta, when William Ruto was making a lot of noise, and that time was the deputy president asking the people of Kenya how logical it is when the price of fuel in Kenya is higher than that of Uganda, yet the same fuel passes through Kenya to Uganda. Equally, there's something he said, this regarding Gachagua, that has got people thinking. For the longest time, William Ruto and his minions, especially the people in UDA, have been saying that the war has been causing the hike of prices. But according to Rigathi Gachagua, he's saying that the fuel that we consume in Kenya does not come from Iran. Therefore, it does not go through the Strait of Hormuz that was closed. And further suggested that the fuel we consume as Kenyans, it comes from Dubai and Saudi Aramco, and also processed. Therefore, he said that William Ruto is using that and is getting his profit and stuff because, and also they are saying that the fuel is coming through the Strait of Hormuz, yet it does not come through that tunnel. I don't know what you think, but here Rigathi Gachagua is mentioning some heavy things about William Ruto. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know what you think. You can write a comment down there. Let us talk. Let us discuss. Perhaps we can form a basis of whatever we're going to talk about in the coming video. I'm preparing another video, so maybe whatever you will write will be captured there. If you are new here, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. Hit the notification bell so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we bring you a new video.